Hello, my name is Ashley Ardondo. This video is to all of those that have been in a relationship for a long period of time that may have found themselves maybe facing a different stage in the relationship. Maybe you just had a newborn child, or if you're a first responder, maybe your spouse just went through a critical incident. So this is just maybe you're overcoming and you're facing your relationship is facing a new chapter or part of life, and you've been together a long time, and so the wear and tear is getting to you. So this is for relationships that are trying to revisit how to communicate and why it's important, and why understanding to understand is important to relationships. So I'll start with why it's important to understand. Everyone has a need to communicate. We all want to be heard. We all want to be listened to. And if it's someone that we love, we need to make sure that we're showing empathy and putting ourselves in the other person's shoes, with multiple goals in mind from your side to their side, making sure that we communicate them goals, or that we're trying to understand what the other's goals are. Um, and so it's important to understand that part of what's being said to you. Another part of communicating and why it's important to understand is that it's a part of everyday life. Every day we wake up, and whether it's self-talk or it's talking to the person that we live with, we start our day with communication. Um, Quoting Garrow and McEwen, interpersonal encounters connecting through communication. It states goals that revolve around being able to successfully navigate relationships, including being able to initiate, develop, maintain, and end relationships. So I gather from that it's important to communicate, or I'm sorry, communicating is a part of all of those parts of a relationship, and the different stages that it may go through. How to understand communicating, or how to understand the other side. There's a need to have a healthy relationship and a fulfilling relationship. And with that need, you have to have knowledge on how to keep it healthy or how to bring it back to healthy and fulfilling. Motivation to put those actions in play, and the skills. If you don't have the skills, maybe you need to seek the skills. Maybe ask a parent who's been in a long-term relationship, or a best friend that's been with, someone for a long time. Hey, how can I make this? How can I fix this? Or how can I, get some advice from them? Um, Make sure that you're supporting in verbal and nonverbal ways to the other side, especially after a big argument, or maybe tensions are high. You know, Someone has to, make the first move. Just as in the beginning of the relationship, someone had to ask someone out first. Someone has to make the first move. So make sure that, you're being attentive, or you're supportive, both verbally and non-verbally. Be willing to learn about the other person's needs. Sometimes our needs change over time. And so we have to make sure that we're meeting them with their needs. If you just had a newborn baby, your spouse may be home all day with the child and is able to make meals. So maybe they need help cleaning the house, versus before all they really needed was your presence. Things change. You can also do the 5 love languages, because I know over time with my own relationship, it's changed. I used to like gifts, and now I'd rather have acts of kindness. I'm sorry, acts of service. So make sure that we have the ability as well to be flexible with the other side of the conversation, that we understand that our side isn't the only side, and the way we look at it isn't the only way to look at something. And that comes down to cognitive flexibility. And quoting Shapiro and Collins from their cognitive flexibility theory article, it says knowledge has to be used in many ways. And it has to be represented in many ways. So again, it comes down to understanding how the other side may be representing it. Maybe they're being shorter with you than normal, and you just don't understand why. It's important to be flexible enough to say, hey, what's going on, or what do you need from me? So when it comes to relationships, this can go for any relationship: spouse, parents, cousin, best friend. Um, we use communication to solve issues. Again, if you know something, there's kind of a red flag, or there's some tension, communicate that. And even if there's not, at least you're willing to try. Appropriate and effective forms of communication are important. Understanding that some things can't be fixed. Sometimes, you just have to double down and say, look, guess, we just agree to disagree. Know when to and when not to. So know when it's appropriate, when the time is right to bring up the conversation, and be willing to change. And again, that comes down to the cognitive flexibility. Uh, Do's and don'ts. Do listen to understand. Don't just listen to reply. Strong eye contact, which goes into attentiveness. Don't be on your cell phone, or don't, interrupt with, things that may be, maybe the kids are being loud, or maybe the dog's doing something cute. Just make sure the other side of the conversation has your full attention. Give pause when needed, and take some time. Know your partner's needs once again. And what's important for me is, and I've found helps a lot in my 22-year marriage, is that you need to give grace daily and accordingly. Sometimes giving too much grace can cause you to be a pushover, or not giving enough grace can, you can end up stonewalling when you really shouldn't. These are my sources: uh, Sapiro and Collins, Garrow and McEwen, and I got some images that I've used. I appreciate you all listening, and I hope that this video has helped you. Please come back and listen again. Thanks.